1089 and 1053 AM. The Clash of the Titans on TalkSport.
Welcome back to the Clash of the Titans, and it is a clash today. I can tell you, I'm in the middle of Mr. Dickin, Mr. Whale, and Tommy cowering. Well, he's not cowering, actually. He's not cowering. In fact, the old fists were up a minute ago. So, gentlemen, the state of the country, Mike Dickin, let's start with Mike.
Well, I'm just going to pick up from where James left off, because it's one of the very few things that we do seem to agree entirely upon. If you want to come and live in this country, fine, I don't care what colour you are. If you want to come and live in this country, fine, I don't care what religion you are. But if you're going to come and live in this country, you're going to adopt our ways, you're going to speak our language, and you're going to use the opportunity to integrate. You're not going to live in a ghetto. And if your idea is to come here and ghettoise yourself and fight with others who just don't happen to agree with you, they come from a different part of whatever part of the world you think is the wrong part, you're not going to use my country as a battleground. You come here, you bloody well behave yourself, or you get out.
Are we, Tommy, I'm coming to you, Tommy, in one sec. Mike, in certain cities then, are we losing it?
Of course we are. We've got ghettos in the north of England. Birmingham was ghettoised, and Birmingham City Council saw what was happening, and they moved people. Birmingham now has very little racial trouble. It is integrated as far as I think any part of this country ever will be. But Oldham, Blackburn, and areas around there are totally ghettoised. Ghettoised to the point you've actually got steel grates erected between houses, between individual houses, by the local council to stop the Asians fighting with the whites or the whites fighting the Asians. I mean, what sort of a country?
And the council who actually allowed that to happen, or the councillors who allowed that to happen, should be removed from public office.
Yeah. Tommy.
Mike, you come from the West Country, and you're proud of that. And we enjoy the pride that you have in your heritage, and we love it that you come up to my part of the world.
He's patronising us again. Don't let him.
We love it that you come up to my part. All of you. I love the fact that all of you guys come to my part of the country and remind us that there is life outside London.
Good.
And you know what I'm saying.
No, we haven't a clue what you're saying.
The listeners do.
Go on, Tommy. Expand on that, please.
Well, I'm not making Mike dress like a pearly king just because he's in London. I'm not expecting Mike to say, "Here, I'll go blimey, do you want to buy some shirts, mate?"
Patronising you are of your fellow Londoners.
Yes.
Whatever.
Exactly.
You understand the point I'm making?
No, we don't. You're making the sort of point that these lily-livered, liberal, wishy-washy people who believe in political correctness would make, and the people who actually wish to make laws to make us all get on. We could all get on together if we were allowed.
Are you sure you're not from the Commission for Racial Equality?
Where are you from, James?
I am from around about 2 minutes from here.
Okay, and Al, you're from Scotland?
Correct.
And you're happy to be here?
What, in London?
Yeah.
Love it.
And we love having you here.
Thank you.
Great to have you.
I'm
Mike,
not sure.
we love having you in London.
He's
too.
like every other Scotsman who's successful.
I'm quite happy that you came here and took the job of a Londoner.
Yeah, I'm very sure.
I'm quite happy that you came here and took the parking space of a Londoner.
Why is London?
And I would defend to the death your right to carry on acting like a country bumpkin.
London is the nation.
Thank goodness Bumpkin come in there.
Absolutely.
London is the nation now.
War, Mike.
You see, he's got nothing to say. We let him have his say. He's now just being bloody rude.
Where did you live the last 10 years, James, before you came back to London?
Ill-educated, I'm afraid.
Where did you live the last 10 years before?
In Yorkshire.
In Yorkshire.
Lived in Yorkshire for 20 years.
And they embraced you, didn't they? Because Yorkshire folk are grand like that. They embraced you.
Don't be so patronising.
I'm just saying.
No, you know, people are great, left to their own devices wherever you are.
Yeah. And did you act like a Yorkshireman when you were up there?
Why do you have to keep dividing the
You
nation?
are so patronising.
I'm asking the question.
You're actually
I'm asking
ghettoising
the
the
question.
nation.
I'm asking the question.
You're doing exactly what you said you don't want. You are ghettoising the nation.
I would imagine Tommy James acted as an Englishman.
I acted as an Englishman and a member of the British...
What is that?
The British
What is that?
Yeah, what is that?
Someone who's
normal,
born in England.
ordinary,
and what else?
Who abides by English law.
You say acted like an Englishman. There's more to it than that, isn't there?
No, I don't think so.
Just obeys the law.
No, abides by the law.
Abides by the law.
Speaks English.
Speaks English.
Alan, don't let... He's going to take you down this path and he's going to mess you around, and we use the same technique ourselves. Don't fall for it, please.
I think my point is rather well made.
Tommy, let's go back to Birmingham, Tommy. Sure. Saddam Hussein Mosque. Should we look at that?
We being who?
We should close it down.
Should I look at that?
This doesn't work for me. Sorry, gentlemen, but I live in the future.
Is that,
I'm a citizen of planet Earth.
Is it actually right? I'm not sure if this is right. I've heard this as well. Is there a mosque called the Saddam Hussein Mosque in Birmingham?
You know how you get there? You walk up Nelson Mandela Avenue.
Well, in that case, I mean, I can understand Nelson Mandela, a brilliant man and a man who has made a great contribution to the 21st century.
A reconstituted terrorist.
Yes. I think we have to give credit
Nelson
where credit
Mandela
is
was a terrorist.
I think we have to give credit where credit is due. And
What?
I think Nelson Mandela has managed to do quite a lot.
He spent a long time in jail and he changed his mind.
Would you
and
rather...
that's what jail is
would
for.
you rather...
He was jailed for being a terrorist. He's never stopped being a terrorist.
He actually wasn't a terrorist, but...
Well, he was.
No, he directed terrorism.
He was a convicted terrorist. That's what he was in jail for.
Listen, Mike, let's not fall out over this. Otherwise, people are going to... I'm going to find it difficult to align myself with you if you carry on. I mean, Nelson Mandela has made a difference. It may not have made as big a difference as a lot of people would have us believe, and I certainly don't think he is the godlike figure that some of these lily-livered liberals would want us to believe, but I think he is, if we were going to talk about people who've made a difference in the world.
Very largely the invention of a PR man.
And... well, I mean, as far as Africa's concerned, they got very little to be... you know, would you rather... what's that bloke in Zimbabwe or Rhodesia or whatever they call it now? Mugabe? I mean, there's a man that we should have taken out years ago. Why are we allowing Mugabe to continue?
He's the man we invited here and laid the red carpet out.
If we talk about Mugabe for a second, I'm happy to do that because he murdered somebody in my family, murdered my wife's father.
Hang on, are you being serious now?
Yes, I am.
All right,
yes,
okay.
I am, actually. And my wife once said something to me which I will always have high in my mind whenever we talk about Africa, whenever we talk about a number of issues. Because I was one day arguing with her that whenever there's a terrorist atrocity, all it does is create other terrorists because people will want to rush off and seek retribution. And it necessarily ends in more violence. And I'd forgotten, of course, that her father was the victim of a terrorist attack in Rhodesia, as it then was, and that he was killed by murdered by Robert Mugabe's men. And she just said to me, "I don't want to kill the guys who did that."
Really?
And that for me is part of the reason why I have the tranche of views that I have. Because you see, gentlemen, if I may just lighten the situation a second, I thank you for your silence and your understanding.
Well, it's
That's
hardly
a
a moment
powerful
to make a joke, was it?
No. What we need, is your feminine side, Mike.
Oh, for God's sake.
James!
I
It's also bloody blokey, it's also testosterone. All the world's terrorists.
Tommy, you had us there. You had us there for a minute.
If he actually has invented a story about his wife like that, he should be totally ashamed
It's why we need
himself.
women.
You
are
need more
so
women. Despicable, Mr. Boyd.
Is there nothing?
That is not a true story.
Tommy, is there nothing you won't stoop to get somebody to like you?
What?
Is there nothing
not.
you won't stoop to?
Obviously not.
I can't believe it.
Tommy, you can't turn your back on what is happening in Mugabe's land. You can't turn your back on what's happening to the farmers out there.
No, certainly not. But as in the way that most of the panel have treated the issues, I'm afraid it has to be said these things are more complicated and they run deeper than that. And we need a little bit more hard work done on some of these issues.
We need a few more guns on the other side.
Besides asking somebody to pass the report. It's about the standard.
Have you ever heard his
program that we're having?
I can't believe it. Have you ever heard his human zoo?
It's meaningful, and most of all, it's young, and it speaks of the future.
Don't you hate middle-aged men who want to pretend to be young?
Yeah, absolutely.
Some of the pictures from Mugabe's mobs, stoning the dogs, burning the Why do we put up with that?
Why didn't we go in? I mean, we are quite responsible, I suppose, for what was Rhodesia. We had a lot of involvement there. Why didn't we send in our troops? It's not a racial thing, because there were as many black farmers as white farmers who were targeted by Mugabe.
Sure, and the black workers.
Yeah, and we did nothing.
Well, England sent a cricket team, which they shouldn't have done.
Of course, I was disgusted by that, and I really think that if we don't start sticking up for ourselves, if Tony Blair doesn't start saying to some of these people that the same way that one good thing that Bush has done is said, listen, anybody really I was going to use a rude word but anybody messes with us
and harbours the message
is going to get it.
Well, so I got into trouble for saying when they were holding the Greek crane spotters, our people were being held in some smelly jail in Athens. I said, send a boat round, send a gunboat round.
Yeah.
Aim the 14-inch gun, whatever it is,
exactly,
Athens, and say, let them go, we'll blow the bloody place up.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why did you get into trouble for that?
Because I was told.
Who complained about that?
Just about everybody listening to the programme.
And me.
What on earth is the point of us working anymore?
Every Greek restaurant owner in the country, when I said ignore them as well.
Yeah.
I said stay out of the Greek restaurant.
Exactly.
Phone up the Greek embassy. I gave the number out on the air and said we're never coming to your stinking country again on holiday.
Yeah.
And by the way...
Absolutely right.
By the way, if we send the Americans to bomb you, they'll miss, so we're going to send the British.
Yeah.
And we'll bomb you flat unless they're out by Christmas.
And I have to
let them go.
First of all, I don't want people to think I'm in favour of plane spotting or train spotting. I don't want anyone. But, you know, it's the principle of the thing, isn't it, really?
This is turning into some kind of a Monday Club think tank, Al. I'm embarrassed to be in the same four walls
Well,
of these
bugger off.
characters. I'm seriously thinking about it. I mean, this is a seriously embarrassing.
We're embarrassed to have you here,
garbage.
anyway.
Absolute poppycock.
Thank
God you've got no influence.
Can we move on to the next item? I'm bored now.
Right, let's have a chat about you know, how successful our health services, our police force. What about our country? Come on, are you happy in the country we live in? Seriously?
If you want to see the three biggest failed things in the country, the NHS is worse now than when Labour took over. Even their chairman says so. The police service is a joke. 9% of crime is detected. David Blunkett said you've got to improve. They say we're not going to.
Can you imagine policemen demonstrating on the street?
Yeah.
That'll lose any sort of credibility.
And railways. I mean, for God's sake, have you ever tried to catch a train in this country going from anywhere to anywhere else?
It's absolute nonsense, Al. I mean, why do we bother to ask these guys questions, sir? Why don't we ask them something meaningful like...
There we go.
Do you think Manchester United can turn it round?
Tommy, on the National Health Service, than I was last week.
He's going to need it in a minute.
Coming down on the 7th fairway, hit the ball.
Anytime.
No. Poor chap keels over, heart attack, so we rushed down.
I didn't realise he was such a
Get straight on the phone,
straight
on the phone. It took 40 minutes, pleading to bring in the helicopter. 40 minutes.
Hasn't spoken much, has he?
It's a serious... listen, he could have been a friend of mine, this guy, lying on the ground, heart attack, if you'd listen. It took 40 minutes for the helicopter. It came from Norwich all the way past Ipswich. Absolute scandal with the National Health Service here. Absolute scandal. And I would like to pay more tax if it was going into the health service.
But hang on, if you pay more, you just encourage the people to do less.
Exactly.
We pay far too much now. It all gets stuck in the middle. It goes in at the top, and the patients are at the bottom. It gets stuck halfway down in the big, fat, ever-expanding waste of the so-called administration.
Jesus, who's talking about big, fat, expanding waste?
with their ever-increasingly large motor cars, which are all on fleet loan, and they're paid for by you and me. The car parks... Nobody you can't park when you go to see somebody...
Have you got the number of that helicopter that doesn't arrive when someone has a heart attack?
I'm telling you now, a fortune is being wasted on administration, and yet you and others go on about paying more tax.
Calm down, Michael.
Mike. Let's get the money.
I'm not giving you artificial respiration.
I can comfortably afford to pay for medical treatment, and unlike you, my wealth is not
you can, but a lot of people can't. Listen, this poor guy dying. 14 minutes for a helicopter.
Hang on. This is simple. I've had experience of the health service.
Yeah, go on, show us your scar. Everybody else has seen it.
Do you want to see my... You've seen it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's a zip.
Can I make an important point? James, we're glad you are 100% well. And I want to pass on particular. I was with the Radio Academy a couple of weeks ago.
Creeping, sycophantic git.
I just want to tell you, James, that everybody was asking after you and saying how great you're sounding and how wonderful it is that you're so well.
He still hits you, Tommy.
Yeah, Tommy. This is exactly the sort of thing you expect Mr. Boyd to do, to try and get round the back door.
It's Christmas and it's a fact, James.
Does he go round the back door?
No, gentlemen.
Take a compliment, James.
I do take the compliment, and I thank the Radio Academy for it. I'm still not going to speak to them. But the interesting thing about health is that it is so much more expensive than we could ever have envisaged. And the fact that we pay a small amount in our national insurance contributions towards the health service, although the fact that we all pay it means the health service, like the BBC, and that's another thing we could get stuck into sometime, gets this enormous amount of money, and they have the bureaucrats who waste an enormous amount of it. And as soon as you start talking about paying for things, as well, keep the money going in that's going in, but also, rather than increasing our taxes, when you need to use medicine, everybody gets upset about having to pay for a doctor. Now, I was very lucky. I had medical insurance, funnily enough. A couple of weeks before I found out I had cancer, I was going to cancel it. I thought, this is a waste of money. I've lived this for 20 years. I might as well get rid of it. Luckily, I didn't, because if I hadn't, I wouldn't be here today.
This is God's way. I'm waiting for Tommy to say. This is God's way of telling you we love you, James.
But the thing...
I'd just like to say it, please, Tom.
The thing is that if you had to pay 50 quid or whatever when you went to see a doctor, if you could afford it... Now, obviously, people who can't afford it have to be looked after. I'm not... All right. we're prepared to pay much more than that when we get our cars serviced. Why on earth do we get so worked up about the fact that we should pay for decent medical? I would much rather go and have a nice room like I had and be treated properly in a place where they can look after it. And have reasonable food. I mean, why should we expect when we're ill to get free food?
Last week I went over. I'm sorry. I mean, we have plenty of people who can fix cars properly. We don't have plenty of people who can fix bodies properly. That's the problem.
But if we gave them more respect,
we don't have enough surgeons or doctors.
Exactly. Well, last week, James, I went over into the city, Medicentre, signed in. Okay, 65 quid, but see a doctor within 10 minutes. Pills. None of this queuing for prescriptions. Bang, there you go. Out you come.
I had to take my wife to Casualty Place the other night. Nothing, you know, it was nasty at the time, but it was okay. We went into one in town at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it was disgusting. It was full of drunks. It was full of yobbos. It had a large amount of policemen there trying to keep with these junkies. I felt so sorry for the staff, and they said, I'm sorry, but it's going to be 4 fires. I said, no, it's okay, it's okay. And I took Melinda home and got some medicine from them, and everything was okay, luckily. But if you've been seriously ill, they hadn't got the time to even worry about it. They hadn't got that because of these down and outs, this scum, and I have no, you know, there is no necessity for people to be sleeping on the streets. I don't care who they are. If they can't get off the streets, then they should be in a lunatic asylum. I'm that angry about it. There's absolutely no compassion from me with people sleeping on the streets, even in cold weather.
How many empty houses there are in this country?
Millions, I should think.
7 million.
We're musing now, Al. People are musing now.
Right, 7 million.
He's muttering into his pullover now.
He's
talking to himself now.
We did a programme back in November. 7 million empty homes in this country.
Yeah.
And very few people sleeping on the street.
I mean, all these urban myths, but
if I
there are about 300 people on the street. Hang on, there are 300 people on the streets of this city, and huge amounts of organisations rushing around with soup looking after them.
I'm going to come round there and shut you up. And I'm absolutely
violence again.
Violence. All you guys can do, all you guys can do, is shout people down. And I think, you know, if anything if anything underscores the enormous gap between what you know and the size of your egos, it's the simple fact that you don't stop and listen to what's going on around you in the world today.
If you don't stop,
I'll come round there. Now, Al,
I know you. Hold on.
Four very important points to make.
Tommy, I've got to take a break now, and you're straight back on the mic. So bear with us. It's the Clash of the Titans
you listen
here
Whale.
On TalkSport.
On 1089 and 1053 AM. The Clash of the Titans on TalkSport.
Right, welcome back, Clash of the Titans, and oh dear, we need a couple of bouncers in here. James Rail, Mike Dickin, Tommy Boyd. Tommy, carry on.
Yeah, I'm quite happy to take these 2 old bruisers on.
If he doesn't shut up, I am going to.
I've got to tell you, I've got to reinforce this important point. I mean, these men are working gutter journalists. What we're listening to at the moment, you know, is if I didn't know that it was done in the name of show business, I mean, I would be out of that door.
He spends his entire time saying nothing.
Because
and threatening us.
What they're coming out with is so offensive.
He's got nothing to contribute to
dangerous. If it had any authority, if it had any gravitas, if it had any depth, if it had any insight, it would be thoroughly dangerous. It would be
if I wanted a conversation
at
this level, I'd have stayed at home and played with my kids.
I'm warning you. I'm seriously warning you.
This is a man who's you're the one who's getting angry at Tommy. Calm down.
Al, I mean, you've just got to start waving your yellow card here.
Who upset my engineer Ash by threatening to sack him, and what I had to sort out behind the scenes is nobody's business.
Frankly,
he picks on people who he
very upsetting. This stuff about foreigners and this stuff about the National Health Service being in the gutter, when we all know that the National Health Service remains, in essence, in principle, and in fact, the envy of the rest of the world.
Oh, cobblers!
And our
it's not
nurses,
even worth responding to.
Our
He's talking.
Doctors.
Are you a paid-up member of the Labour Party or the Liberal Democrats? Which is it?
Are doing a very difficult job in the face of. Now listen to this. In the face of pure ignorance.
They are doing a very difficult job.
Total and utter ignorance of what can and cannot be achieved with the kind of funds that are made available, not only to the National Health Service,
You're just
but also to the police
with what
force.
I've said.
Correct. to the police force, and also our nation's teachers.
You see, he's just agreed with what we've said, but he shouts in a way that he thinks he's saying something controversial.
Well, that's what he always does. He repeats what you've said or I've said, and then claims it as original thought.
Can I just make a note that Mr. Brazil has noticed something, and I think we should go back to and talk about it. The Dome is to be turned into a sports and music venue. May I say that is the best thing that could have happened to it. It could easily have happened to it a year ago. We could have put enormous amounts of money into the health service. But actually, Mike makes a good point, before we go on to the next subject. If we put any more money into the health service, and I've spoken to doctors about this, and they said if you put more money in the way it's organised, the way it's run by the bureaucrats at the moment, you won't get any better service. They'll just lose the money. They're not actually able to spend the money they get. The whole health service has got to be reorganised in favour of the patients.
James, you're falling for it. You're falling for it again. The only reason the government have issued this news at the moment is because there's going to be something else they don't want you to talk about. They've issued this news at the moment in the way that they have because they want airheads like yourself to start jumping up and down about it, and you're falling for it. So are you, Mike. It's irrelevant. It's not worth discussing.
What isn't?
It's totally irrelevant. What? The Dome. Oh, don't think about it. Don't talk about it. Don't bother your little head about it.
Would you shut up?
Ignore it. Leave it. Let's move on to things that matter.
Could we talk a little bit? Could we talk, Al? Do you think a little bit about Europe? Because Europe.
Oh, for God's sake!
I tell you, we're going to go.
Who listens to this? Who wants to listen to Europe?
We are going to talk celebrities. We're going to talk celebrities, entertainment, celebrities. Because I know at night you all sit at home watching the old box.
But how are we going to disagree over celebrities? You don't even know what a celebrity is.
Well, I am a bloody celebrity compared to you.
Oh dear.
Magpie.
Magpie? What's that?
That's it. Magpie.
Seriously. Magpie. If you want to talk about what it's like to be a celebrity, who was that woman in Magpie? What do you want to know?
Right, James.
What was it? Susan Stranks. Whatever happened to Susan Stranks?
Tommy, this year, come on, Tommy, looking back on the year, a bit of order. I wonder whether you were looking back on this year, Tommy, come on television, who has entertained you? Who is a bit special in your eyes?
I only watch the sport on telly. So who's entertained me? Tilsley's getting better. Ron Atkinson. Little eyebrows at the back post. I love that one. Ron Atkinson.
When you say sport, you mean football then, do you?
Yeah. Funnier man than most people. I don't watch television for any other reason.
I must admit, I can't be bothered. I don't see too much.
He's making a play to present the breakfast show in the near future. You can tell.
But he thinks sport is football. He's another one.
Yeah. Now come on then, Mr. Dickin. What's you like a bit of horse racing, don't you?
National Hunt. The National Hunt season coming up. I like the athletics, and in fact I enjoy almost everything on sport.
Don't you enjoy those women running?
Netball and basketball.
Don't those women look
Merlin off his bum. You could put a teacup and saucer on that when he's standing upright. That is a rear. That is a serious rear. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
And that was why my granddad used to watch ice dancing.
Oh, your granddad.
Oh, yes, when the little skirt flicked up.
Yeah. I could never understand why he sat there, and he also watched the ballet, and he had no art in him. I know why now. It was a legitimate way, 10:30 at night, black and white telly, of looking up girls' dresses.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And the WWF women wrestlers.
Oh, you ever seen anything like... Did you see the spanking match?
I did.
And the bra and panties? Oh!
Mike, you haven't lived if you haven't seen it. We must take Mike out and watch him.
Oh, sorry, I've just suddenly realised that I am in the company of inexperienced boys who the only experience of sex you have is with yourself.
Yeah, but at least we're potent.
One-handed...
At least we can get it up, you know.
I mean, for goodness sake.
What time is this going now?
Did we mention Mr. Barrymore? Does he come into the programme?
Well, he's the one I just talked about, one-handed sex.
Are we talking about sport or celebrities now? What are we doing?
No, we're talking entertainment. Entertainment on television. That last year, who's impressed you? Come on, James. What programmes do you like?
Well, I'll tell you what I don't like, first of all.
Answer the question.
I don't... Will you shut up, or I'm going to come around there and slap you. I'm getting really pissed off with you.
Do you like Richard and Judy?
I think Richard and Judy are the biggest disappointment ever. This new show that was supposed to bring us innovative television, new to the world of broadcasting, is crap, isn't it?
I've never seen it.
She looks like a female impersonator on a bad day, and he looks anorexic. No,
Mike, have you ever been on telly?
Yeah.
What was that then?
James and I were on last together.
What was that then?
We did a program. We did a phone-in from Pebble Mill.
Oh, right.
And I was on the other night doing something at the Palace. I seem to remember being interviewed by
He wore a
Jenny
very
Gordon.
fetching waistcoat.
Did you not front a programme once upon a time?
Yeah,
A big sports
I used
programme?
to do Grandstand. Yeah,
There you go.
but sorry,
Fronted
forgotten.
Get out
Grandstand.
of town with
Fronted
balls
Grandstand.
on you have not.
He did.
You're making stuff up like you did about the phone-in thing.
Can I listen? Can I commend a program that's just finished, which is the funniest thing I've seen on television? It's called Gimme Gimme Gimme, and it stars Kathy
Very
Burke,
good, very
and
good.
it is the funniest program I have seen on television.
I'm not sure it's the funniest, but it has its moments of...
Do you ever watch any of the American sitcoms, Frasier?
Can't stand them. I've never seen
Frasier.
it.
What about
Enjoy
Friends?
Frasier.
Yeah,
Frasier, yes.
is stunning, isn't it?
I've
Some of
never
the lines
seen
in
this.
Frasier.
I've never
Frasier.
seen Friends either. What's that about?
They all sit in a coffee
It's about dysfunctional people who can't get any sex.
That's what I thought. So you watch that, do you?
Didn't need a punchline, Mike.
No, I just
Didn't get one either.
Mike, even your humour, you must like Frasier.
Well, I've never seen it.
It's about a failing phone-in host.
Oh, well, you
Doesn't need a punchline, Mike. Doesn't need a punchline.
modelled on anybody we know?
Doesn't need a punchline, Mike.
Come on, what do you like, Mike? What do you like on telly? You must like something.
Funnily enough, it is modelled on somebody we know.
That's
He's
what I
sitting
thought.
over there to the side of
what I-
you.
that's what I thought.
A man who's dabbled
No,
in
Mike-
psychiatry and teaching and
Tommy, they're not
thinks he
pointing
knows
fingers at
about
you.
art and wine.
And lots of other dreams.
Yeah.
My favourite programme is no longer on. As far as I know, I can't find it.
Oh, you're not going to talk about Magpie again.
No, Magic
Country
Roundabout.
File.
Magic Roundabout. Was
No,
my
come
favourite.
on.
Out
be
of town.
serious
I'm
here.
absolutely serious.
No, don't be
Jack Hargreaves in Out of Town.
The
Do you
Magic-
remember?
Do you remember that? Wasn't that fantastic? He was so relaxed.
Yeah. Do you know something similar has the same sort of...
Say what you will, the countryside is still the only place where I can settle down.
And then he'd get a bit of wood and start whittling.
He would. He'd go. He'd sit there. He'd go, "Here, look at that."
Who
and
would?
he'd chuck it. Jack Hargreaves, the
Who's
legend. Well, actually, he was the
Looked a
director.
bit like you, actually.
He was the senior director at Anglia, wasn't he? He was quite a shrewd businessman, but he got his own show.
Well,
It
I
happened.
never
Mike,
heard
Mike,
of
are
it.
you,
was
not, are you not a tight lines man? Are you not interested
What?
in sort of fishing and stuff like that?
All right,
not,
Mike.
not to
The
watch on
country?
television. No, I'd rather watch paint dry.
Hey, listen, I'm fed up with this. Let's talk about something that's going to really go. Cat Dealey.
Oh, very, very.
You like Cat
I
Dealey?
don't know.
Very pretty girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
pretty.
Now, I think Cat
Is
Dealey
she a
is going to be a
relative of
big
Peter?
star of the future. Don't you?
Is this tongue-in-cheek?
No,
I never know when you're joking
No,
about. She
seriously.
is a pretty girl.
Yeah. Because
Clever girl.
I get up early on a Saturday morning just to watch CD UK on the television. Get a fix of rock and roll.
Can I make a suggestion? Why don't we go around the table and, I mean, who are our women that we love? Because we've done Person of the Year, and that's one thing, but we're blokes, and let's do our women. So you've got a vote there for
And that's
Cat Dealey.
that's a very good idea, Tommy,
Yeah.
because I'm warming to you, because there are too many effeminate homosexuals in the world of the media, aren't
Oh,
there?
television is
Yes.
rife with them. Radio's not much better.
I mean, why are so many of these people attracted to this industry?
I don't think they are. I think a lot of them do it just to
you think
avoid having
effective?
to have the conversation
Yeah.
about being heterosexual.
All right, okay.
You know.
Look, you see, I think heterosexualism
Yes.
is becoming something that's sadly lacking.
Well, you've moved in the media for too much
Well,
and too
it's,
long.
it's
James.
certainly not required, is it? You are not required in any job I can think of to be heterosexual.
All right, well,
But you are required in some jobs to be homosexual.
Exactly.
all right. Well, let me make this suggestion then. If we talk about the women that we
And why
admire
do we have
cherish-
during peak time? We stuff our television screens with these camp effeminate men.
But we should also talk
Why?
about if we had to sleep with a man, who it would be.
Oh, no.
No, seriously, because it's good for
I
the
am
soul.
not going down that path.
Actually, do you know the even better one, Tommy?
Yes.
And let's try it with Alan.
Okay, let's do it with
I mean,
Alan.
I put my hand up to saying that maybe 500,000, 500 £500.
Yeah.
I'd have sex with a guy. What
Yeah.
about you?
It's a question of
Not
price.
a chance.
How about 500,000 and David Beckham?
Not a chance.
Come on, he's
Not a chance.
beautiful.
Don't be silly. Not a chance.
Be silly.
I don't believe you.
I don't believe you're
Are you
serious.
that well-
I don't believe you two are serious. here.
3 million quid.
No.
Al, 3
No
million
chance.
quid.
I don't care.
3 million
I've got
quid.
3 million. No.
All right,
no.
be in the same
Oh,
room as
you've
him.
got 3 million.
I'm kidding as well.
Be in the same room as. I mean, I couldn't stand. I'm so heterosexual. I can't stand the thought of.
I can't
being in
either.
the same building as another man who's.
But
thinking
how
that.
much money?
How much money
for
would
you
I
two?
to make love to David Beckham?
Yeah.
Oh, this is ridiculous.
That's great. I think I'd do it for. Well, it depends what you mean by.
£2.50.
I'm looking at enough to retire. I'm looking at about 1.2 million.
Mr. Dickin, you've been very quiet here.
You've
I
been
can't
very
believe what I've
quiet.
just I would not, under any circumstances, for any reason whatsoever, ever entertain a relationship of any physical type with a man if it involved that sort of gender. Oh God, I can't.
Methinks he doth. What's the phrase?
Don't protest too much.
No,
I don't think, Mike. If you could, if for a couple of minutes,
yeah,
pain or pleasure, whichever way.
Oh no.
Yeah.
You're going to say give or take, and that is out of order. This is Christmas.
But onto the...
And you could retire,
Yeah.
never worry about money again for the
Yeah.
rest of your life.
Right.
You would.
I would not.
You would.
Yeah. James, I swear to you, I would not.
Mate, tell me about lady then. Who's a lady you enjoy listening to on television?
Enjoy thinking about.
On television.
Enjoy having your heart.
Pleases you? Who pleases you?
Yes, a woman that pleases you, Mike. Come on, women.
Oh, there are plenty of Penny Smith.
Yeah, I think she is top class as well. Penny's a lovely lady.
I think she's gorgeous.
Really?
Yeah, and clever girl too.
I can't
So
think
what?
of. I just can't think of any on television. I don't live my life staring at the screen. I never watch it.
All right, your favourite barmaid. Come on, James. You're not still with Cat Dealey?
Oh, Cat Dealey, without a shadow of a doubt.
I don't know who Cat Dealey is.
Cat Dealey and Louise.
Yeah.
Who've
Really?
been presented. Yeah, there's something very sexy about Louise.
God,
Sort of
what have I
striking.
missed? I've never heard of these.
Tommy.
people.
Oh, I love women. All women. All women are fantastic.
I love all women.
I do. I love Valerie
all the
Singleton and yeah, and
What are you,
no,
necrophiliac?
and Anna Ford.
I bet you like Samantha from Bewitched.
Samantha. Oh, I was going to say that. Elizabeth Montgomery, who's no longer with us.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
She died young. I saw it on the Biography Channel. I cried. It was not.
That's a
right.
great channel, isn't it? The
I tell you what,
The Biography Channel.
who
and the National Geographic. I love that.
Yeah, that's a good channel.
no.
Who did 9.5 weeks before we move off this?
That was Kim Basinger.
Oh God, I can't.
Now
Yeah,
apparently she's active. She's
Really?
busy. Apparently,
Really?
I've got all
I could
sorts
go
of
for that.
Really?
And that Linda Gray from
lips. You like fluid lips, don't you? Big fluid lips.
I'd like to have sex with her like Bill Clinton did and have sex with Monica Lewinsky. Yeah. Then I could splash out on a new dress for her.
Yeah. Where are we going here?
Okay.
We go back on the sport? No, we won't. We won't. Come on, James. What do you want to talk about now?
I really think we need to discuss the ever encroaching close proximity to Europe and the fact that we could all become members of this European superstate without actually ever being part.
Does it worry you having euros in your pocket, James? It don't worry me.
No, I don't. Well, you see, people like you who've got so much money, Alan, and you know, you have to remember as a professional footballer and now as a radio celebrity and always having been able and he's a good manager of money, has made enormous amounts of money.
Scotsman.
Yeah.
No.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to him what sort of money he has. But I actually think I like that sterling is one of the major currencies in the world. Sterling
I
and
like
the
the
dollar.
picture of our dear Queen, personally.
Yeah, you won't get one of them. You won't get an MBE, mate. Don't forget it. Forget it. You might get a bit of salad and a bit of cheese. You will not be getting an MBE.
I cannot actually understand why having our currency linked to some third world countries, like Greece and Turkey, is going to benefit us in any way, shape or form. No,
it's not.
Precisely.
Well, if there has to be an argument then, because we don't want you to end up a married item, do we? I am serious. That's £2.50, isn't it? I'll take you on. I think that Europe is exciting, and I think it's necessary.
I think it's exciting. It's a lovely place to go, but I don't want to be part of it.
It's going to happen. There is a decent argument. It is going to happen.
The French do not want it. After the French have had the euro for about a year, they don't even want to speak English. They will not.
It'll be called the market.
Let's stick to the facts. Let's not make stuff up. Let's stick to the facts. It's going to happen. It needs to happen. We've had peace in Europe for the last 50 years, largely because the French and the Germans have hated each other for 100 years, and they were forced to become bedfellows by Churchill. By the way, Mike, you'll be pleased to know it was his idea.
It was his idea to keep going. It was his idea to keep going, but he hadn't got enough ammunition. He'd already gone through and sorted out Russia.
Your hero. And I think it's.
He ran out of ammo, you know. That's all. He would have finished the bloody lot if he had the chance. He would have marched on and gone through Russia and sorted them out as well.
Now, you see, you talk about that. There's a conspiracy theory that at Potsdam, which is the treaty you're referring to, Mike, Churchill and, was it Roosevelt, came up with the idea of this nuclear device, which doesn't actually exist.
I went to Potsdam.
But they thought, did you?
Yeah.
What's it like?
It's very ordinary, and you'd think it would be much more noted or notable.
You
can actually miss it.
Fishing?
That's where we were. Yeah.
Tommy?
I'm not interested in what I was saying.
That's where I was.
No, I am.
That's where I was on the 11th of September.
Hang on, we're getting too serious.
No, wait, James.
The only reason we can join Europe is if we control Europe.
James, can we not have a conversation that we've had some
more
time?
gunboat diplomacy.
Yeah. No wonder you can't. Mike, what makes you believe that there ever was an atomic bomb? Try it on for size.
Well, my father went to the Bikini Isles to actually help explode it, so I know there was an atomic bomb.
Well, your father may have some things he could tell us, but supposing it was just a stunt, not unlike the stunt of man going to the moon.
That was...
you agree with that?
Tommy, let's not waste time in this ridiculous hypothesis.
I'll tell you what, we'll come back in just a tick. This is Clash of the Titans.
Can you control him better?
On TalkSport.
Man's never been to the moon.
Calm down.
Warning you.
On 1089 and 1053 AM. The Clash of the Titans on TalkSport.
Welcome back to Clash of the Titans. Oh, why do we have to go off there? There's some of the arguments in the language here. Diabolical, Mr. Dickin, Mr. Whale, and Mr. Tommy Boy. Diabolical for our listeners.
So what are we doing now?
Diabolical.
Yeah,
sorry.
We're talking. Are we talking about?
Let's talk about Beck of the Year. Idiot of the Year.
The Scottish Parliament.
No.
Yeah, the Scottish Parliament will waste of money. The waste of money in this country.
Hang on, the Scottish Parliament sits in Westminster as well.
Exactly.
They're all bloody Scots.
Exactly. Why on earth would we have to pay for this ridiculous waste of public resources and have the Scots have their own Parliament? I've no idea.
And you've got to, at Burke of the Year, you've got to put the bloody gnome in the picture, haven't you? Ginger Meekon or whatever.
Oh, no, Mike Paddy's he's moving house today. Leave him.
Robin Cook. Robin Cook, Robin Cook
I didn't know he was still working.
Hey, can you say Burke? Don't forget what it stands for, what it rhymes with.
Peerage.
No, it doesn't, does it, mate? Stop and think it through. We had Burke, it came with Steptoe & Son.
Yeah.
But I'm a Cockney, I forgot. You don't know, do you, guys?
No.
You're not a Cockney.
He's just winding up again.
Do you know what a Burke is?
Jerk, is it?
Do you not know?
No.
Do you seriously not know?
No, I've got a clue.
You do, James.
No.
I haven't a clue, I'm not interested.
Do you, Al?
Can we...
I thought it came from
He's
Burke.
wasting time again.
Go on. It comes from Burke and Hare, the body snatcher.
Right,
can we get on with it?
Right, so, Mike, you were saying Robin
Cook, he gets the sack as Foreign Secretary, and the following day he comes out and starts speaking foreign policy in front of the new Foreign Secretary.
Could you do better? You know, it's alright slagging these people off. Could you do better?
Could anybody do worse than him? Can you imagine
hang on, we haven't put ourselves up to be politicians. He has.
Yeah, who has? Robin, whatever his name
I wish you... Listen,
I thought you had a problem with having a
flipping footballer chairing this this is ridiculous.
Could we do better?
It's alright,
you know, footballers
if you can do better, put yourself up there.
I couldn't afford to live on the money they earn.
For Cornwall, why not?
Because I couldn't afford to live on that sort of money. I wouldn't get out of bed for the money an MP earns.
Gentlemen, somebody is going to get very cross in a minute. I hope it's not me.
We hope it is, then, and we don't problem to anyone.
Well, it just occurs to me, he may or may not have been the Burke of the Year, but I'd like to remind us about the fellow who chucked an egg at John Prescott and what John Prescott did back, because for me that was the moment of the year.
Why was he not...
John
It was the most memorable moment
of a
very...
Prescott.
Absolutely.
Good on you.
It reminds me of this show, you know, it had been a very dull, very predictable election for a while, and then a man who knows how to pull himself up to his full height and speak with our most eloquent organ, our fist.
Are we speaking...
Gave the world an image that it has cherished.
Okay, well, let's look at it. There are 2 points here. First of all...
It's not an accident that I remind you about that incident.
First of all...
Whaley.
I have no interest at the moment in using physical violence against you, and you can try provoking me as much as you like.
And I'm not going to refer to the word B-U-R-K-E on the radio, because I know what it means.
Because
I think we can't spell
you've got
patronising crap.
Yeah, exactly. On one hand, you can't You can't
What?
actually allow people to go hitting out of, at anyone. If that had
He
been a
should be in
woman,
jail.
yeah. If that had been a woman,
Prescott.
Come on.
Listen, you two, shut up and listen. If that had been a woman who'd done that, holding a child, and he turned round and lashed out and hit a child,
He had a
that was
good
being
look.
held
No,
in
he
his
had a
mother's
good
arms,
look. He had a
would have
good
been
look.
in
He had a good
huge-
look before he did it, and he
my,
saw that it
my
wasn't.
auntie had, you know what, she'd be my uncle, right? So he turned round, he saw the guy, whack,
An
good on
18
you.
stone Lincolnshire farm
Good
worker
on
could
him.
look after himself. The guy was bigger than him and younger than him.
No, but I have to agree. I mean, I think there are very few of us who suddenly got hit in the side of the head with something like that wouldn't have retaliated in that way. But
Thank you.
it not be condoned,
No.
and Prescott, because he was the Deputy Prime Minister, although I don't think he is anymore, I think he should have been chastised and given some. I also think the man who threw the egg, who had a very offensive haircut to me,
Yeah.
That was a hat, Jimmy.
should have been put in prison
It was a bubble
for a couple of
It
months.
was a bubble hat, Jimmy.
I think he should have been done for cruelty to chickens. But, I mean, the only thing I can say good about John Prescott
sorry,
is
I-
he's the only member of the front bench who's ever had a proper job outside of university, council work, or politics. He had a very important job. He was a steward on P&O Ferries.
Well, just to correct you, if I might, for example, Estelle Morris was a school teacher for 17 years before she entered.
I said a proper job.
Yes,
I said
okay.
a proper job.
Okay,
Right.
We don't have much time
Stephen
left.
Byers was a university lecturer.
How much time have we got left?
No, we've got another
The Minister of
8 minutes.
Education, you see,
Okay.
Mike. It's kind of relevant.
Stephen Byers is Minister of Transport, hasn't got a driving licence.
Could I listen? Seeing that this is supposed to be the time of year when people think about religion,
Well,
and
these are supposed to be
everything else,
birds,
goodwill
aren't they?
towards
We've just
men.
named three.
Yeah, go on.
Can we not spend a little time thinking about religion? We touched on it before.
Do we
These
have
single
to?
faith schools.
Do we have
I
to?
really think that the people who make decisions, who obviously will be listening to this program, have to be given the views, I think, of the vast majority of people in this country.
Religion only spoils
Yeah,
Christmas
exactly.
for me.
Single faith schools. And this is something that people keep on saying, we're going to have more of, we're going to have more of. If we have any more single faith schools, then this country will become almost ungovernable. It'll become ruled by people who are full of bigoted ideas and ideals.
So do away with religion, James.
Well, no, if you wish to have a religion, and you look like a Catholic, although I don't know whether you are you?
Yes.
Yeah, there, just
What am I then?
I think you probably were a Methodist, but am I right? I am, aren't I? Yeah, I am.
He is.
Shit. But
That's right.
And what was Mike Dickin then? Please, what was Mike?
well, I imagine that Dickin and I were probably
Jehovah? What was
probably
he?
Church of England, aren't you?
I'm an atheist.
Yeah, but I mean, we were probably.
I was brought
yeah,
up in a
yeah,
Church of
yeah,
England
exactly,
family,
you know,
yeah.
Can you do this
it
with
was.
anybody?
I can, but I don't want to work on that now. But you know, this is we have to.
We have to coach your barn with silver.
Who's going to win the Gold Cup?
£500,000.
No, I told you I'm not sleeping with you.
Listen, it's a really serious point. We have got to now encourage, we've got to kick the Catholics out of education, we've got to kick the Church of England out of education, we've got to kick Muslim, Jews and any other.
Absolutely.
But education is a place you can learn about religion. Learn about religion in history, and if your family and you want to have a religious upbringing, then you have your school, or you have your church or your mosque or whatever, and you go there. Religion has no place in education.
None
And single
whatsoever.
faith
I
schools-
will agree with you.
So is that your wish then, James? Would that be your wish
my
for
wish,
2000?
my wish for
And two?
2002 would be that we see the error of our ways and realise that having schools for people which segregates them even more is something we can't do.
My wish for 2002 is that everyone would truly see the light, and it's not that different from what James is saying, and that we stop, and we do something to stop people believing in this ridiculous nonsense about there being a God. There is no God, there never was, there never will be, and all this nonsense about worshipping this God, that God, or another God. There never has been, there never will be. Anybody that believes it is just a superstitious idiot. And once we get rid of this superstition, we can start to live a proper life.
The only problem there is you are as passionate about no God as lots of people are about
Only
God.
because people who believe in God keep telling me about it. I don't go around telling people about
Why?
there's no God.
Answer me this question then. And I wouldn't go that far because I think there's a creative force for good and evil. And
Yeah, there is.
something
It's
like-
called
yeah.
nature.
All right, okay. And some people may refer to that as God. But that's up to them. As long as they don't use it to bash us with, that's okay. I don't understand why in this day and age, religion is one of the few things, if we have a go at it, we can get into serious trouble.
Who says these religious blokes with funny hats on and women's dresses get a seat in the House of Lords? I mean, what a load of nonsense. You get, as long as you rise to the top of your religious cult, You get a seat in the House of Lords, and you get to wear a fairy hat and a woman's dress. I mean,
see, that could be very offensive to people, Mike, especially this time of the year.
I don't give a damn.
I think each and every one of us have got our own religion, and that's how it should be.
Mine's nature.
Yeah, and good for you, and I'll worship that. And Jimmy, you've got a good religion too, and that's how it should be. Each of us should sit down and think it through for ourselves.
I actually think religion is evil. I think religion actually is evil in it, and I think people are spending most of their time worshipping religion where they should be worshipping God, creation, whatever you like to call it, nature, whatever you like, and that's what people should be.
But what about the missionaries out there in Africa then, are helping people feed themselves? No, you can't say that.
Well, he can. If missionaries hadn't gone out to patronise other people because of their beliefs,
still have their own culture.
Exactly.
We robbed them of their culture.
We wouldn't be in the problems we're in today if we hadn't set these flipping missionaries out there to interfere with people.
Cause more trouble in the world than Adolf Hitler.
I say, Al, it's come the full circle, Al. It's two guys who've been round the block who've got a fairly balanced view of the world.
Don't start taking the pee out of us.
Who are these old folk?
I mean...
Who are these demented
I've had enough.
old buffers? Huh? How do they get away with it?
I've had enough of Boyd trying to agree with everybody and everything, never expressing an opinion of his own, and waiting for somebody else to tell him what his opinion is. I've had a gutful of this, and you can finish the solemn programme on your own.
Well, I don't understand how you can say that about people who go out there, give their life to helping other people, find water, feed themselves. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Go and get yourself a bun. Go on. Out you go.
I've had enough of you as well!
Mike, it's just a shock.
Piss off! Oh, God!
Mike! Easy! Hold it!
Al,
I'm getting out.
try and get some sort of... I'm sitting here, I'm watching it, but I don't believe what I'm looking at. Tommy Boyd and Mike Dickin have gone out of the studio, on the floor... Come back in here and sit down. Sit down over there. What do you think you're doing?
He's flat out. I'm really seriously worried.
I don't know what the... Just sit down, for God's sake, sit down.
Go and get him back. Producer, try and get Mike back. He's very... I don't know why, he's just flipped.
You can't do that, Tommy. He's too old to be treated like that.
I'll get him back.
You can't do that to him.
It's sat on the floor.
Yeah, you cannot.
Tommy, I would leave him.
Luckily,
I would leave him.
Would you?
Yeah, I'd leave him. Leave him for a couple of minutes. Yeah.
You know about these things.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen it. You've
seen it happen.
I've seen it happen before.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen before.
It was...
What do you mean you've seen it happen before? Where have you seen it happen before?
I've seen him throw a wobbly before.
Oh, I thought you meant like on the field of play, or maybe
no.
in the changing room.
About 2 minutes to 10.
I cannot believe that. I'm sitting here dumbfounded. That come in here and sit down. What on earth is wrong with you?
Are you all right, Mike? Seriously?
I shouldn't laugh.
What was all that about?
I'm just sick of you all.
No, it was just a bit of fun.
Not one of you has the guts to tell the truth.
Just a minute.
Come, I'll break you in a minute. I've
stay away from
Just
a minute, Tommy.
If you can't tell the truth, why bother to take part in the program?
It's just a show, Mike. We're just kicking around ideas.
You've been asking for this all day today.
Oh, and somebody else hasn't.
Tommy, you cannot continue to be sort of smugly sycophantic, winding him up like this and the rest of us. It just is not on.
Look, I wasn't winding him up. I listened to what he had to say.
No, you haven't listened to anything anybody said all day.
A lot of it.
All you want to listen to is yourself.
Right-wing meanderings of somebody who lost the plot around about the time Alf Garnett was on our telly.
You're doing it again.
Yeah,
I know.
Stop it.
I'm sorry.
You know you don't even believe that.
You want some?
No, I don't. And if you come near me, I will not act like he did.
And
I'll put you in a headlock and smack you right on the floor.
I decided to walk rather than hit.
Yes, I think you did the right
I think it was wise.
I did you think?
I don't want to be done. I don't want to be done for child abuse.
Look, there's nothing wrong with.
I take it an hour down the pubs out there.
Shut up.
I take it an hour down the pubs out there.
Well,
why don't you get back to Scotland and take your money with you? You're as bad as he is. You're another religious freak who can't tell the truth for 2 minutes.
Michael.
Goodness sake, this is ridiculous. Can we leave this program with a little bit of...
We've got to end on the right note.
Don't worry about that.
We've got to end on the right note, because we're professionals, and all right, so we lost it a little bit there, and I think it was okay. It happens. You know,
I'm amazed.
But
I just can't believe what I've seen.
Piece it together, and
I can't believe what I've seen.
And Mike, you're a great guy.
What do you mean you can't believe what you've seen?
Mike,
I just can't believe.
Mike, come on, Mike.
Well, have we started yet? I mean, we come in here to do a programme, and all we hear from Boyd is a load of stick.
I agree. He is a difficult person, and he does it in that smiley, charming way like Tony.
Because he knows he's so small, nobody's ever going to hit him.
So who gets the best figures out of you 3 years? Just as a matter
I've got the best figure of a man.
Mr. Dickin punching the air. It's Mr. Dickin punching the air. Are you having that, you two?
I get twice the audience you get, and he gets twice the audience that he gets.
Well, that
still thinks
again,
he's 28.
Again,
He still thinks he's 28.
I get more phone calls.
There we go.
More emails.
Hey,
I get more mail. I get people
me.
sending me checks. I've got 15 envelopes that I picked up this morning with checks in them.
I am not going to go down this road because it will embarrass you if we start talking about figures. And quite frankly, if this programme has deteriorated to that extent,
I'm going actually.
I'm going to leave you and Mr. What's your name, Mr. Brazil, to argue out the rest of the thing.
Then it may get a bit of sense, Tommy.
Quite frankly,
it may get a bit of sense. There you go.
No, you can finish it on your own.
We can see you sneaking out.
Cheerio, cheerio, cheerio. Cheerio, cheerio.
Did you ever hear that weekend?
Thank God for that. Hey? Thank God for that. Jeez. He's lost it. The Cornishman's lost it, I tell you.
Well, for a minute I thought he was mucking about, but in the corridor outside it was pretty clear that he lost it for
You're a bit nifty on your feet there, Tommy, I have to say.
I keep myself fairly fit. Yourself?
No.
I don't kick
no.
I don't kick a ball about anymore, but yeah, I keep myself fairly fit. You did a good job there, considering you've got three, egomaniacs with a lot to say, but nothing to actually say. I thought you did a good job.
A lot of strong views there, Tommy.
Yeah,
a lot of strong views.
You handled it well. I've always said, shall I tell you what I've said, what I say on my show? Because we often get round to talking about it during the wrestling hour. Who can really look after themselves at TalkSport? And I always say, the last man standing, if it was down to it at TalkSport, would be Alan Brazil.
Tommy, I'm more of a talker than a fighter. Always have been.
I know, but if it
I'd rather
came down
talk my
to
way out of it.
But you've been there.
Well, I'm a Glasgow boy.
You can look after yourself. I'm right, aren't I? I'll tell you what, I did want to pick your brains, and I don't mind doing it just here. Who do you fancy for the title?
Arsenal, I would probably say, are the big favourites. And just
Disgusted with yourself.
Oh, here they go. The Blues Brothers have just walked in.
Yeah.
The Blues Brothers. Go on, get down that pub.
Go home.
This means nothing to you couple of commies.
Go home.
Tommy,
they were terrified we were going to start.
Did they really not look forward to Christmas?
I've no idea.
Dickin go and place a rose on Stalin's statue,
I've known Mike now for 30 years, and I've got to tell you that there is a blurring of the edges between how he is on the microphone and how he isn't on the microphone. Are you with me? I don't know whether he's turning into the guy he broadcasts as, or whether he brings the person he is to his broadcasting. But ditto Whaley, You meet them in the pub, and what do they say? What you see is what you get.
Yeah.
I love
Tommy.
them.
I do. I think you and me should go down to the Swifty.
You and me.
Let's go to the
world.
Absolutely.
All right.
Great. I've enjoyed it. I'm sorry, Mr. Whale, Mr. Dickham have departed earlier than expected, but that's the nature of the guys, Tommy. And a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to all our listeners from TalkSport.